Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where in the world you are. My name is Omar Duque. I'm the president of HITEC. I'm really excited about today's Wellness Wednesday session with Daniela, who's going to teach us a little bit about nutrition and healthy cooking. But I did want to take just a quick moment before we got started today to, more than anything, just acknowledge the point in history that we are all living right now. And to, I guess, communicate or begin to communicate to the broader HITEC community, you know, how we're thinking about this and how we plan to continue to address the ongoing issue of injustice and racial injustice that is happening and has been happening in our country and across the globe for far too long. Like many of you, you know, I was deeply saddened and disturbed, not just with what was happening or what's been happening, but much deeper the understanding of where it comes from and the history behind it. And, you know, the things that I have experienced and the things that I know that so many other people have experienced. And, you know, clearly this is a much broader issue than just related to our HITEC community. As many of you know, we released a statement in partnership with ITSMF last week. And we continue to think about how we as an organization can create the necessary spaces to continue to address the issue and do our part. And when I say our part, I think there's a couple of different things that we can be doing. Number one is continue to stand in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters. Number two, to work from a place of action to address what we know to be ongoing colorism and racism within the Latino community, to partner with other organizations to create actionable strategies to really make a difference. And where I find a lot of hope and encouragement is in the fact that today leadership has never been more important. And we are a community of leaders. And I have had numerous conversations with board members and leaders from within the HITEC community and learning about what they're doing in their own places of business with their employees, with their community, with their families, to educate, to create the spaces for us to have the necessary conversations that I think too often we just put off and don't address the real issues. And so we're going to continue to create these spaces. You know, I had a really impactful conversation with leaders of a number of major Hispanic professional organizations, and we're committed as leaders of these organizations to not just address the issue today, but come up with meaningful and long-term strategies where we can all be working towards some real change for our country. I've already taken more time than I wanted to today, but I just wanted to let the community know that this is something that we're thinking about, that we're working on actively, that future HITEC Live sessions will be dedicated specifically to some of these topics, and that we also plan to address these topics in the virtual summit that will be taking place August 11th through the 13th. So again, thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for what I know that all of you are doing in your own lives and in your own businesses. But this is something that I believe that we all need to come together and continue to work on. So thank you for that. And then I will turn it over to Cristin, who will take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omar. Hello, HITEC Familia. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today I have the pleasure of introducing you all to one of my best friends, Dani Hindelang, which is here in Costa Rica with me. Dani is a culinary nutritionist, which she got her culinary degree at the Culinary Institute of America, and later on received her degree in nutrition at Johnson & Wales. So Dani, I introduce to you my HITEC Familia.
Hi, thank you so much, Cristin. It's a real honor to be here. And it feels so good to know that if I do have to say something in Spanglish, everybody is going to be able to get the message and I can just go through it. So thank you. We're also living in quite a difficult moment, and I appreciate the time. I just want to invite everybody to take a deep breath, think about cooking, smoothies, and hopefully by the end of this presentation, I will convince some of you or all of you to add a green smoothie into your diet. As we all know, we are living through a pandemic, and until this moment, our body's first line of defense against pathogens is our immune system. That's why we're getting so many different messages from all sources telling us to get more sleep, to stay hydrated, to add in more nutrient-dense foods. And it is crucial at this time to really consider what foods are in our diet and if we can really pump up that nutrition density of our foods. You're probably looking at me and thinking, well, you know, Dani, I'm busy, I have a family, I have to work, I don't have any cooking or kitchen skills. And I mentioned the kitchen skills because I do teach people how to cook in Costa Rica. And I've noticed that we all have our favorite recipes and our favorite meal plans that we do every week at our home. And we have a really hard time adding more greens to our rice and beans and carne mechada. So it can get a little bit complicated. And this is why I think a Dr. Green smoothie is going to be perfect for almost everybody. Some of the benefits, it's really easy to make. It really just takes some minutes to make. Also, most of the ingredients you can find all year round, and it's portable. So if you have a meeting, you can take it to your desk. If you have to run an errand, you can take it with you on the car, or you can just leave it in your refrigerator, and whenever you have a free moment, you can just grab it and take it on the go. So other than adding more immunity right now during a pandemic, it's gonna add more immunity forever and just to keep us healthy all year round. And I am going to be revealing really soon why my Dr. Green smoothie has a special trick to make it even more immune boosting. I wanted to start with describing a little bit of the ingredients that I'm going to choose for this smoothie. Sometimes we go to restaurants or we go to even all the different smoothie bars that we have nowadays, and there are so many different options, but not all those ingredients are as immunity focused as we need them to be at this moment. So I have gathered some of the ingredients that I find that really work and they taste really good. And the special trick that I made was something that I started doing for myself just to save time. And now I can share with all of you because I think it's something that is really easy to make and it's gonna be very practical for your life. So I wanted to share the super secret ingredient is my immunity boosting ice cubes. My immunity boosting ice cubes are basically ice cubes that I make myself before time, and I have them already in my freezer and just ready to go. Whenever I'm gonna make a smoothie, I just pop 2 or 3 inside the mix. And it has a lot of really important ingredients that are really going to boost our immunity. So I'm going to explain everything that's going in there, and then I'll teach you how it looks at the end. We have, in Costa Rica, we're very fortunate, we have a lot of fresh produce, but we do have fresh turmeric, which in Costa Rica we call it curcuma. It's amazing. I do have to tell you, if you peel it and you work with it, absolutely everything in your kitchen will turn yellow. And that's why I can also recommend getting the powdered version. It's going to do the trick and it's gonna be a lot quicker. I also add in a base of coconut water. Coconut water is nature's sports drink. We love it here and it is very accessible everywhere now, but it also has a lot of electrolytes and it has very little sugar, and it also has potassium. So that's going to be the base with the turmeric, and then we have fresh ginger, which I add, and I just lightly, you can either press it into like a juice or you can just grind it and then add it into your mix. And just to finish up, a little bit of honey. Honey and ginger and turmeric, these are all ingredients with a lot of antioxidants. If you're wondering what antioxidants are, antioxidants basically fight free radicals, which could harm the cells in our body. So we hear that word a lot, and it's important because we are now really trying to add in as much immunity as we can to our bodies. So we're gonna mix all those ingredients together. Honey is just gonna add a little bit of sweetness, but also honey also helps to coat our throats, which is super important. What it comes out is going to be this kind of yellow, very concentrated drink. And this is where it gets fun. I have one of these plastic molds that are very useful. And what I do is I basically make my own ice cubes using this mixture. And these are really easy to take out once they're ready. And I'll just make a whole tray and I'll keep them in my refrigerator inside a Ziploc or a Tupperware. And then when I need to make my smoothie, it looks something like this. It's just the ice cube. And then all the good stuff is already in here. So this saves time because I don't have to do this whole process every day. And it's really gonna make a difference and you will notice it because it does taste much, much better. And here we go with the rest of the ingredients. What I'm going to be adding is a base of greens. I have some kale. We probably get too many reminders of eating more greens and produce. And I find it hard sometimes to add all those greens into our diet. So adding just one handful of greens to your smoothie is a super easy way to get that serving of greens out of your way. And once it's blended with all the other ingredients, it's going to be super tasty. You're not gonna have that very bitter taste that you normally get from the kale when it's just alone. So we're doing the kale and then I'm going to add a banana. I like to freeze banana because once the banana is frozen, it has a very nice creamy and silky texture and it will give that creaminess of the that you almost get from a milkshake without being a milkshake. And it also has a lot of sweetness. Bananas are high in potassium and they're just a really healthy food. And it's a perfect base for a smoothie. So we're also adding a mango. In Costa Rica, we have a lot of produce. So feel free to change fruits depending on the season. For example, you could use peaches or berries. I really like mango. Mango has a very high content of vitamin C, but pineapple is a great choice as well. We're gonna just add this mango over here. If you wanted to freeze the mango, you could definitely do that. That is perfect. I'm also adding a healthy fat. This is almond butter, but we can use chia, which I also recommend. Both of them are healthy fats, high in omegas, and it has fiber, which will keep us full, and it will also just help us keep fuller for a longer time, right? And then these healthy fats are just very important. We should probably be consuming healthy fats every single day. So I'm going to add my immune boosting ice cubes, and then I will be blending this smoothie. The important thing about blending this smoothie is to make sure that you have the right consistency. For example, some people like them a little bit more like a milkshake texture, and that, what I would say is you can definitely add in either a little bit more of ice, or you can just take out some of the fresh ingredients and add, for example, another half of frozen banana. If you like it even more liquid, you can definitely add more coconut water, or you can add even fresh orange juice. So it's really coming down to that recipe that you love, but with the strong basis of what we need. So once everything is combined, I'm going to save everybody from the 2 minutes of really loud blender noise, and I'm just gonna show you the final product. Your smoothie should look something like this, which you will see is kind of green, but it's also a really nice, just like dense smoothie. And it has everything you need, and it's something that you can definitely put into your day every day, and it's gonna have amazing health benefits.
That looks delicious, Dani. It looks amazing.
Thank you, Viv.
Thank you so much. I actually have a question. What are your thoughts on, I've seen some recipes that have, that add coconut oil to them. Do you use that as well in some of your recipes?
Yes, I think coconut oil is super good. I do recommend adding the coconut oil at a specific time, because if you are using cold ingredients with the coconut oil will get hard because it can be liquid or hard depending on the temperature. So one of the, just something to take into consideration is that you might, once you blend the coconut oil into your smoothie, you might get like, it might feel a little bit harder, and it's because once it cools off, it'll get hard. But coconut oil is super healthy. I've even seen people blend it into coffee now. So that's a really good option.
So we have a question from, we have a couple questions actually. So the first one is from Angela Cruz. Angela, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Sure. Hi, Danny. Thank you for
Angela.
sharing that recipe. I'm based in Miami. I'm a longtime member of HITEC and one of the mentors, and appreciate this type of programs. With juices, for a busy person like me in the mornings, is there a way to prep these blends prior so that you don't have to spend all that time in the morning? And also related to that, I've heard that there's the nutritional value of some juices disappears after a certain amount of time. So what can you tell us about prepping?
Absolutely. I recommend, and I'm a big fan of prepping your foods ahead of time. It will guarantee that we will also include those during our day. Sometimes we're on the go and we get busy, and then just thinking about the fact that we have to cut all the fruit and get everything together, it takes time. So I would recommend having Ziploc bags with all the ingredients for your smoothies already made. And in case you could definitely freeze the kale or spinach, it freezes well, but some people like to have really fresh produce. So you could also just freeze the banana, the mango, the almond butter, and you have the ice cubes already made. So maybe you have everything pretty much done, and then at the end, you just throw in a bunch of kale or spinach or whatever green you wanted to use, and that will at least save a lot of time. So if you want to use smoothie bags, they even have some reusable smoothie bags that you can probably buy.
So what's the shelf life in terms of nutrition? Let's say you prepare something in the morning and you leave it there for a couple hours. Will it still be good?
What can definitely change is fruits that are fresh and the vegetables that are fresh can start oxidizing. So if you make the smoothie and you blend it and you have it ready, I would probably drink it in 24 hours, because once the fruit and the vegetables start to break down, it can change the texture and also the flavor of your smoothie. You will probably be able to still have it the next day, but the flavors might change a little bit.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got two questions coming up. So the next one is from Thamara.
Hi, Danny. Thank you for the session. My name is Thamara Ramirez-Walker. Hi. I am in the brand and purpose experience team at SAP, and I am a new member of the HITEC EEC program. So thanks for this awesome session. So I tend to burn the midnight oil. On top of my day job, I do a lot of social justice activities for my work on the side, as well as I am pursuing my executive MBA program. So when is the best time in a day where I find myself, working until 3 o'clock in the morning and then getting back up at 6 or 7 to talk again with my European colleagues? When is a good time to have a smoothie, in order to lift the energy or get you going? Should it be in the morning, later in the afternoon? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, congratulations for doing all that amazing work. That sounds like a lot. Good for you. There's not a right time for a smoothie. It's really whenever you wish to have it. Smoothies, a lot of people think it's like a morning or breakfast food, which is really ideal, especially when we have to be on the go. Just taking a smoothie with you on a container and just having it while you're driving to work or whatever, it's perfect. But really, if you want to have like a mid-afternoon snack, just to really boost that energy in a really natural form, because we tend to want to go and get the donut or the frappuccino, but this is a really healthy way to do that. Also, for example, maybe you're working late night and you just want something to kind of carry you over before you get to have dinner. You can also have a smoothie with maybe some protein added to it, and that way it will also really benefit to kind of just have a little bit more of a, you know, a little bit more protein in there will really keep you fuller a little bit longer. So yeah, anytime really.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So that actually, our next question is in our chat, and it has to do with protein, Danny. So the question is, would you use this as a meal replacement? And if so, would you recommend adding protein to balance out the meal, since it has carbs from the fruit and fats from the almond butter? And that's from Jason Rueda.
Okay,
Hi.
thank you, Jason. Hi. First of all, you always have to check in with, if you're working with a nutritionist or RD regarding any kind of meal plan, but definitely you can, a lot of people use them as a meal replacement, especially if you're super busy and you need to get somewhere. I would add in some protein and make sure it's a protein that you've already tried before, that you know you like, and that combines well with the flavors. Some proteins have a hard, kind of like a more bitter taste, and sometimes it doesn't combine as well. But I do agree that if you add a protein scoop or two, and then you add the veggies, and then we have the healthy fats, it's gonna be a really well-rounded snack or meal. I would probably still add like a side of vegetables or a side of salad, just because I think if you're having green smoothie, you might as well have a salad too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Gracias, Dani. Any other questions? Throw them out there, guys. Let's see. Selena's asking us, does Dani use avocado in her recipes? And if so, does she substitute it for chia?
I get great question, Selena, because originally this smoothie recipe called for avocado. And it actually had the avocado and the almond butter, because together they make this really nice and creamy texture. So you can definitely do that. But if you want to maybe substitute, or not substitute, but have like one fat instead of two, you could just play around with that. So maybe add avocado whenever you have it. It's really gonna add that nice creamy and sweet flavor to it, so it won't, you know, change much of the flavors. And then you could also just use chia in another smoothie bag. So you could kind of have that different, the different smoothie bags for different days, and just play around with your ingredients.
Thank you, Dani. I'm obsessed with avocado. I love it. And I know it has so many nutritional benefits to it, but it's not always good to put that much fat, right? If you're trying to be healthy. So I wondered what you thought.
I know, it's the good fat. It's kind of that hard. We should all be eating more avocados, but how much is the question?
In that size smoothie that you made, would you do just like a half of avocado or a fourth of an avocado? What is your serving size for avocado?
I would probably go for a quarter of an avocado or an eighth, because it depends on how many fats you want to have during your day. But it's usually like a quarter would be perfect amount, because it will add that creamy and that flavor, but it won't overpower the other ingredients.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Hola, Dani. This is Susana. Oh, I'm sorry. I just had a quick question. So whenever I drink a smoothie, like I'm hungry in an hour and a half, what am I doing wrong? Or am I just always hungry? Like, do I add something? Hola, Dani.
Are you adding protein to your smoothie, or is it just a green-based smoothie?
No, like we have, yeah, if I showed you the protein powders that we have here, I live with a house full of boys, so there's protein powder galore here, yeah. So I usually put a scoop of, I think it's called super green protein.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the chia and the almond butter adding that healthy fat is also adding fiber, but chia, especially, for example, a little bit of chia can really go a long way. Chia expands once we ingest it, and it really keeps us fuller. So that might be a nice trick. And it also has omegas, which are really good healthy fats. and they make our skin look nicer. So we all should be eating omegas. And then you could also consider how many grams of protein your scoop has. Because if you're exercising and you're really busy and you're constantly moving, then it could be that you're also burning up a lot of energy, right? So it depends on how active you are as well. But usually banana and chia and protein will keep you fuller.
Definitely. I've never tried the chia, so I'm looking forward to trying that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, Sue. All right, so I think folks are really intrigued with these ice cube recipes. And so one of the questions is, do you have other things that you can incorporate or other types of recipes for ice cubes that folks can use?
Absolutely. So ice cubes, I actually found out how much I love these ice cubes when I looked up for a really nice recipe for a margarita, and it had the ice cubes had lemon and honey and other spices already added. So by the end, your margarita melted and it was extra spicy and special. And that's how I came up with this idea of using it to add nutrition instead of more ingredients to a margarita, more nutrition to my smoothie. But something that you could also use is just make coconut water basic ice cubes. And then you can use herbal ice cubes, for example, to put into your bottled water, and that will add a lot of flavor into your water. For example, rosemary or a little bit of thyme or some spearmint, and that will add flavor to your water without adding any other ingredients. So it's a really good trick. And lastly, if you are trying to not control, but measure the amount of oil that you use in your recipes, a great trick is to kind of pre-measure your olive oil or coconut oil or whatever you're using into these cups, and even add herbs, and then you can just take them out, and that's exactly how much you put into your recipe once you're gonna cook whatever you're making. And that way you don't have to, when you drizzle oil, sometimes we can drizzle a lot. So that's another quick, cool trick for using the ice cubes.
I love it. I think most folks would agree with me that the margarita scenario is also top of mind. So thank you for that trick.
Yes, if you can add more nutrition to your margarita, feel free to do that too.
Thank you. All right, we've got some more questions coming in here. So a question that came up when you were talking about chia is, what kind of chia do you add? Ground chia, chia seeds, overnight soaked chia? Lots of chia questions. That's from Diana.
Okay. Hi, Diana. In Costa Rica, I've only seen like basically chia seeds whole, but I think once you put them in your smoothie, you can definitely grind them. I know that a lot of people use the chia seeds whole for making the chia puddings, which is also a great recipe. But the most important thing is to get those chias in your smoothie. I mean, if you have a hard time with the texture, you might taste that inside your smoothie. So maybe you want to add ground chia to your smoothie. But if once it's blended, it will pretty much be the same.
Awesome, thank you. So one question that came up from Kelly Monteiro is juicer versus blender. Is one better than the other? Does it matter?
See, that's a great question, because now we also have a lot of juiceries and the juice cleanses. There is one benefit to the smoothie that we don't have in the juices, and it's the smoothie retains all that fiber from the fruits and veggies that we will lose in a juice. So a cold pressed juice, you are getting a lot of that concentrated vitamins from the pressing, but then you're kind of losing out on all that fiber. So one of the benefits of drinking green smoothies every day is it will really start to help you out with your digestion, just because you are adding in all that nutrient density, but you're also adding in a lot more fiber that you probably wouldn't be normally adding into your other dishes. So it will definitely help you keep a little bit fuller as well.
Perfect. Kelly, I hope that answers your juicer versus blender question. We have a question from Heidi Escalante. And I actually had this question myself. What is the sugar content for the recipe that you just shared with us? If someone wants to limit their sugar is there a way to kind of compensate for that? Heidi mentioned that she kind of tends to stay away from smoothies because of the sugar component.
Yes, absolutely. I have to tell you that I have seen all kinds of sugar, a lot of real high sugar ingredients disguised in healthy smoothies. And I have to tell you this, I don't know the exact amount of sugar, but I can tell you that, for example, we do have mango and we do have banana, which are both sugar. They do have natural sugar, but it's still sugar. And then we're using a little bit of honey in our ice cubes. Coconut water has very low amount of sugar. But if you wanted to maybe limit the amount of sugar, you would probably want to go for berries, which they don't have the amount of concentrated sugar that, for example, mango has. That I love mangoes, but mangoes are super sweet. And also bananas. I know a lot of people try and stay away sometimes from bananas because of that sugar content. So you could definitely go for berries and then add in more greens, and that will help balance out that level of sugar. And then you can definitely skip on the honey. Just forget about the honey, just use the water. The coconut water will add a little bit of sweetness. And just use your bases with water. Sometimes I see smoothies and then people say, oh, it's super healthy, but then, you know, they might add, for example, a store-bought orange juice that has added sugar into it. So all those things sometimes add that amount of sugar, and then it's going to be end up being very sweet, and that's not the point. So that would be my advice.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. This went really fast, so thank you all. We're going to have Dani back, so no worries, guys. But the final question I'm going to ask for Dani today is talking plant-based milks, like your almond milk, or maybe like oat milk. What are your thoughts? What is like the thoughts on using those sorts of additions to your smoothie?
Well, that's a great question, because I personally love it to have a little bit of that creaminess, and I will use almond milk. I always make sure I read my label and make sure my almond milk is unsweetened. Sometimes they do add extra sugar to your almond milk, but if you use an unsweetened almond milk, it will help with that texture, make it a little bit more creamy, and it will blend in really well with the ingredients. So I feel like it's a great addition, especially if you're trying to avoid dairy. I would definitely recommend going for almond milk versus going for like adding dairy in. But I also know people who have used, for example, yogurt, Greek yogurt, or a little bit of even an almond-based yogurt, and that works well too. So the most important thing is that you find the mix of ingredients that work for you, or think about what is missing in your diet that you might not be adding already to your family menu. Even for kids, you could probably make your child have more greens if you put it in some kind of milkshake form. And the most important thing is that you find something that works for you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. So happy that you were able to join us. I think folks we had so many questions. I'm sure that there's more, but really appreciate you taking some time to join HITEC, the HITEC Familia, and we can't wait to have you back. So thank you so much. Thanks everybody for today. We'll see you on Friday, or we're gonna have our HITEC live webinar on our executive toolkit. So be sure to sign up, guys. Thanks everyone. Take care. Gracias, Dani. Thanks, everyone.
Pura vida, Dani. Maybe next time you can teach us how to make gallo pinto like in a healthy way, or olla de carne, or tostones, because right now all I need is some comfort food. So